The mortal remains of Wing Commander Namansh Syal, the Indian Air Force pilot who lost his life in the Tejas crash at the Dubai Air Show, have returned to his native Himachal Pradesh. Now, the IAF aircraft carrying his body landed in Kangra, marking the final journey of a 34-year-old officer who spent his life in the skies. From here, his remains were taken to his ancestral village, where his final rites were performed. Before this journey home, his body was flown to Sulur Air Force Station near Coimbatore. There, the Coimbatore district collector laid a wreath. Indian Air Force personnel stood in silence. Local officials paid their respects. Wing Commander Namansh Syal lost his life on the 21st of November when the HAL-designed Tejas light combat aircraft he was flying during a low-altitude display at the Dubai Air Show lost control, plunged and erupted into a fireball. Harrowing videos from the scene captured the jet nosediving, followed by thick black smoke rising over the runway. The Indian Air Force confirmed that he suffered fatal injuries and has ordered a court of inquiry into the crash. Wing Commander Syal, a son of Himachal's Kangra district, was an alumnus of Sainik School, Sujanpur Tira. He was commissioned into the Indian Air Force in 2009. He is survived by his wife, who's also an Indian Air Force officer, and their 6-year-old daughter and his parents. All right, I'm now being joined by Air Commodore Dr. Ashminder Singh Bahal. He's a former Deputy Commandant, College of Air Warfare, Indian Air Force, joining me live from New Delhi. Sir, thank you for making time for us. Your thoughts on what you saw on the 21st of November and, of course, those scenes from Himachal today.
It's indeed a very sad day, not just for the Indian Air Force, for that family who's suffering this tragedy, but also for the entire nation who's lost a brave, courageous pilot and who was very well known for his calm demeanor and his professionalism. He had close to thousands of hours on different fighter aircraft, including MiG-21, Sukhoi 30 MKI, and LCA. He was recently attached to 45 Squadron in Sulur, which was the first squadron of light combat aircraft. You saw the picture over there. You know, we do not choose pilots who do international displays who are not excellent or anything less than excellent. This pilot was an exceptional pilot and who had raised the name of a small village in Kangra district throughout the country as to who and from where he belonged. Now, the pilot was very well trained. In fact, he was a qualified instructor and he was training others also. And he had significant amount of hours on the light combat aircraft. The aircraft itself is a very beautiful flying machine, which when taken to its limits, shows and indicates how well our professional technological development in our country is taking place. So right now, when you saw that maneuver which was being done, it was a negative G turn, which means that when a turn is carried out, in the positive G, you are turning inside the turn. But when you turn outside the turn or you are going down like this is called negative G, means opposite to the gravitational forces where the blood now flows to your eyes and the head, and that's why this is also called as red eye turn. Now the pilot, when he was undertaking this maneuver, when you saw that he was turning like this to the right, thereafter it was inverting the aircraft, you found that after that, suddenly when he leveled off wings, the aircraft continued to mush and hit the ground. It would be too early to say what was the real reason behind it. Let me tell you that in international air shows, the aircraft are taken to their limits in terms of their flying envelope, and also the pilot is taking to the limits of his physical and mental envelope so that he can showcase the capabilities of the aircraft, so that that aircraft can bring India proud, and also make sure that the aircraft is sold off to many other countries, thereby increasing our defense exports. So this whole thing actually has hit us all very, very seriously. But let me tell you, the causes could be anywhere from an engine failure when he is inverted like that and is rolling out from the inverted position in a shallow dive, to it could be both due to negative G, a flame out of the engine, which
Understood.
can take place due to oil or fuel starvation, or it could also be a spatial disorientation which takes place due to the light haze that was there, and the maneuvers were being carried out to the limits of
Understood.
the aircraft and to the limits of the pilot.
Air Commodore Bell, what was the scope for an ejection from that jet in the middle of that maneuver? You understand it better than anybody else. If you can explain what would have possibly happened and the amount of time that Wing Commander Syal had.
When we look at the ejection seat that is fitted on this aircraft, it is Martin Baker. Ejection seat, which is 00. 00 means that 0 altitude and 0 speed. So you can eject at any time. But then there is a mush which is taking place. If you saw towards the end, the aircraft was in a mush when it crashed in a nearly flat attitude. So in this mush that is taking place, the limitations of the seat also come in. But at the same time, the seat is pretty safe. You can eject at any altitude, at any level, and at any speed. So probably the pilot was continuing to try to recover the aircraft so that it doesn't go towards any of the large amount of spectators who are close in the vicinity, and also save the aircraft so as not to crash on ground. So that is the reason why. And if you see how many seconds it was, hardly any, maybe 2 to 3 seconds in which all these decisions have to be made and the pilot to eject. So it is not the seat, it is not the pilot, it is the circumstances at that period of time which could have led to this decision of the pilot to remain with the aircraft to try to save the aircraft and the people around it.
Commodore Boyle, thanks so much for explaining that to all our viewers, exactly what all Wing Commander Syal was perhaps dealing with, to decide within, and the conditions he was dealing with during the midst of that maneuver, which is not easy, and the forces that he's dealing with in and in opposite directions. Also, it's an extremely sad moment for the Indian Air Force, for India, and for everyone who's watching this. But thank you for explaining that to us. We'll wait for the investigations to come in.
Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Hind.